I am so tired of being a strong, independent black woman. Can somebody's son please come free me?
I'll say it, as a woman, I feel like we should have more sympathy for the male population because their lives have never been easy ever since they were young. I mean, once you turn 12 as a boy, you're suddenly competing with CEOs, bankers, politicians, for girls your own age. I'm so sorry.
So this is just going to be a little rant about how this country hates single people. You cannot succeed in this country if you're a single person, I swear.
I'm gonna marry a CEO. He's gonna give me his card. I'm gonna be a housewife and he's just gonna let me be a girl all day. But yeah, that's my plan.
I truly believe that feminism is the worst thing that's ever happened to society. And I say that with knowing the fact that I am very privileged to be able to vote and to contribute to the democracy that I live in.
I'm so masculine these days because the compliments of me being so resilient and so hardworking, it's like, again, I don't want to do that. I sit down, be soft, have my little business. Cute, that's cute. But 9 to 5, doing this, doing that, that's too much. Too much. I just want to be soft. I want a man to just take care of me. And it's this is what I have to do. So it's I don't think that's a cute, I don't like that compliments actually. And it's so funny because I keep getting it more and more these days. Fall back on my husband and be like, yes, please, baby. And then he'll be like, yes, no problem. That's what I want. I want that. I don't understand how people are seeing that and just be like, she got it. I don't want to have it though. Don't want to have it. That's what they're not understanding. Be soft, love on my man. I don't want to be the one being the man. I don't want that.
She says she wants to be soft, but hey race, the reality men have been told they aren't needed, so many simply stop volunteering for the job. You can spend years telling men you don't need them, then act surprised when they finally believe.
Hey TikTok, I'm just on here wondering if anybody's feeling the same way I'm feeling. I'm from Illinois, and I feel like the gas prices and the electric bills and the prices of food is just so overwhelming anymore. I'm wondering if anybody else is feeling like they're drowning and they can't get out. I work overtime, and I cannot get above water. I mean, I literally have no gas for next week. It was either that or get a few groceries to get by. I hit my local food pantries. I'm just wondering if anybody else feels like they're drowning. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great...
This is bigger than dating. When people are working overtime and still can't cover basic necessities, something is seriously wrong. Men are feeling that pressure to, and that's exactly why many are choosing to step back, protect their money, and prioritize peace.
Independent black woman. Can somebody's son please come free me? I don't want to do it no more. But for real, I don't want to do it, except in applications right now.
Okay, something I feel like that's not talked about enough on this app is being single and financially how hard it is. I literally work 2 jobs. I work in sales and I teach Pilates part-time. Both of the jobs pay pretty well, but still I feel like it's so hard to stay afloat. And don't get me wrong, I like to ski. I definitely don't live a frugal life. I have a nice apartment. Never say no to plans, but how are people doing it? How are you attending everyone's bachelorette parties, everyone's birthday dinner, going on all of these trips with your friend and having leftover money to spend on yourself? Completely stopped doing my hair, so that saves some money. Truly exhausting. I just don't understand.
It's bigger than dating. When people are working overtime and still can't cover basic necessities, something is seriously wrong. Men are feeling that pressure too, and that's exactly why many are choosing to step back, protect their money, and prioritize peace.
So this is just going to be a little rant about how this country hates single people. You cannot succeed in this country if you're a single person, I swear. So I'm trying to move out of where I live now. I have a terrible living situation, and it's impossible. It's literally impossible for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house or apartment. Everywhere I have looked near me is starting out at $1,200 to $1,400. How much is it for a 2-bedroom though? Starting out $1,200 to $1,400. So if I had a second person, this would probably be way easier. Not to mention, you cannot even have pets at any of these places. How y'all gonna allow children that will absolutely do damage? But my cats who sleep all day, they can't come? And then Verizon, I need you to count your days. I'm supposed to be paying $85 for unlimited everything. Somehow, though, my bill is always $99. And I just got an email a few days ago telling me that my plan is going to be raised by $4. So I still have a $100 phone payment. So then I was looking to change phone providers because no, but that's pretty much the price anywhere for one line. Now, if I were to sign up and get 4 lines, it would be $100. So I can pay for 1 line, which is $100, or I can get 4 for $100. Make it make sense. What the hell? So they're making it to where you cannot survive this economy by yourself. And I don't like people. So I don't want people in my space all the time. I'm living with a nightmare roommate right now, and I am miserable. So I know everybody else has got to be.
She just explained the reality men have been dealing with. Everything is expensive and the pressure to provide hasn't disappeared. So when a man looks at the cost of relationships and decides he'd rather protect his money and his peace, that's not bitterness, it's common sense.
This is a PSA for all of the privileged, rich, wealthy Americans. Hi, my name is Bridget. I'm 32 years old. I work full time. And my paycheck does not give me enough to even get the bare minimums. Okay. I had a savings account and I just had to use about half of it just to get by until my next paycheck. Okay. And the reality of that is once my savings is gone, I don't have a crutch. I don't have any more crutches. And the stress of going grocery shopping, y'all, I'm at Aldi, okay, which is quite literally probably one of the cheaper grocery options. And the way that I have to pinch my pennies just to make sure I have enough food until the next paycheck is quite literally wild.
This is exactly why men are becoming more selective. If a man is already struggling to keep himself afloat, is going to think twice before taking on additional responsibilities. It's not that men don't care, they're realizing they can't save everyone while drowning themselves.
So, to all of my single humans out there, you're doing amazing. And, we're a 1-income family. My fur babies don't work. I wish they did. I wish there was an opportunity. But what are we supposed to do? When is enough enough? Because this kind of living is unsustainable. Unsustainable. Meanwhile, y'all are out here driving your Teslas and your Cybertrucks and your G-Wagons. Y'all, I'm in a Chevy Equinox. Okay? And I'm starting to think I need to trade it in because I can't afford life anymore. When is enough enough? I would love to know. I would absolutely love to know. It's pretty sad.
Saying single people can't afford to survive, but hey race, the irony, men have been told for years to carry the financial load. Now the cost of living is crushing everybody and men are finally asking, why am I signing up for even more pressure?
It's pretty sad. I have a college degree. I am overqualified for my job. I am severely, severely underpaid. What are we supposed to do? What's the answer? Because I think the next step for me, I'm gonna have to look into food stamps, and I bet you my salary is above the threshold. But obviously, I'm $85.26 away from being in the negative. What are we supposed to do? How am I supposed to buy groceries for 2 weeks with $85, only to have 26 cents left in my bank account? When is enough?
This is exactly why men are waking up. A degree doesn't guarantee stability anymore, and working harder doesn't always mean getting ahead. When you're barely surviving, protecting your income and building your own peace starts making a lot more sense.
Is the worst thing that's ever happened to society. And I say that with knowing the fact that I am very privileged to be able to vote and to contribute to the democracy that I live in. It ruined everything. Because in the 1950s or 60s or whatever, you could support a family of 4, 5, 6, whatever, on one salary. You could have a house and a car and 2 cars and send your kids to school, and gas was 50 cents and all this other garbage. And now people have to have 2-income households, or single moms are barely getting by. Single parents are barely getting by. On top of that, I'm now expected to work, which is the most trash thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. Maybe I feel that way because I don't have a big, strong career or whatever, and I'm just a server. I love my kids. I think going to work and having to be separate from them, especially my son, he's 9 weeks old now, and I have to go back to work because we need the money. We're financially screwed if I didn't, right? My theory on feminism is that it was started by actually like big corporations, and it was so that they could get more people in the workforce and they could get more people to pay taxes, and so that the rich people could get richer. That's my theory on why feminism was actually.
Hey race, the irony: society told women they didn't need men, but the economy still demands 2 incomes just to survive. Men aren't surprised by this. They've been warning about financial pressure for years now. Everybody's realizing independence sounds great until the bills come due.
Hey girl, it's very expensive actually.
No, in fact it's not. And they're about to very kindly demonstrate that almost every single one of those expenses is entirely self-inflicted.
To do your nails every 10 days.
And who says you have to have your nails done? And even if you do, you could actually save a lot of money and do that yourself.
Do your hair, to get all the lotion, the perfume. Good perfume is hundreds of dollars.
Well, whoop-de-doo. But remember, women do those things for themselves, so they're essentially spending hundreds of dollars because they want to.
To buy these outfits, to buy the shoes, to buy all these things, to look like a 10.
A person can look like a 10 but have the personality of a 2. Personalities, I might add, are priceless.
And you have some girls that do all this but will accept 50-50.
But wait, if women are doing all that for themselves, then why should it matter if they go 50-50 or not? Unless, of course, they're admitting they're just doing it for the guys.
That will accept going on a date with a guy and being like, so do you want to zone me? Or do better, babe, do better.
Yeah, do better. So many women out there would do a lot better if they put in all of that work into actually getting a good personality.
Everybody wants a rich man until they find out that a rich man doesn't need you. Until they find out that rich men have options. That a rich man can pay for somebody to clean his house, for somebody to teach his kids, for somebody to pick up his kids, for somebody to drive him places, for somebody to iron his clothes, for somebody to cook his meals, for someone to spend time with, for someone to leave when he wants. A rich man has options. He doesn't have to choose to settle down. He doesn't have to choose to be with anyone. He can choose to be with as many people as he wants, to be honest with you, as many people as will have him. What you have to understand as a woman is that there are many things in this life that we want to control. I get it. We tend to be control freaks, right? We multitask. We find that things are best done the way we want, when we want. And the hardest thing for us is to give up control, which is why so many women are triggered by the idea of having to submit in a relationship.
Exactly. A man who has options doesn't need to beg for attention or accept a relationship out of desperation. If it's on build a good life on his own, then a woman has to bring something meaningful to the table, not just expect his money to make her life easier.
With a financially secure man, a provider man, you have to understand that there's a trade-off. And part of the trade-off is not only your willingness to submit in certain areas, but also the way you make him feel is why he'll keep you around. If you don't serve a purpose, which is why men ask, what do you bring to the table? Then there's no value. And you have to understand that men need to understand and equate value to things. That's why they talk about your value in the sexual marketplace. It's not roses and butterflies. You don't get to live your life like it's golden, do whatever you want, YOLO, and then forget because you decide to be a different version of yourself. Men don't operate that way. So, if you actually want to be chosen, then you have to understand what will make you desirable. And your salary, your career, and all the other things that women are fooling themselves into believing.
A career doesn't automatically make someone a good partner, and neither does money. If a man is building a successful life, he doesn't need someone who adds more stress to it. He wants a woman who brings loyalty, peace, and something meaningful, not someone who just expects access to what he built.
I post about this when I first started posting, but if you're a feminist or anything around that, and you're still saying men should pay for everything, or, you know, men need to be the providers, you're not a feminist. And not even the slightest. I don't know how you fight for women's equality on every other aspect, but then when it comes to your partner, all of a sudden is, no, that's a man's job. He needs to pay for everything. How did we become so woke that we actually went full circle back head first into the fucking patriarchy? All of you that do this disappoint me immensely. And it's the worst when, like, you comment on a video, like, people are like, oh, someone would say, like, oh, surgery is just like fitting into patriarchy and stuff. And then there'll be comments like, just let them do what they want. And then you'll reply like,
Men have every right to notice the double standard. If women want independence, that's their choice, but you can't reject traditional roles and then demand a traditional man who pays for everything. That's not equality, that's picking the parts of the system that benefit you.
choice feminism. And then once I replied that, everyone just replies, what's choice feminism? Like, I just made that shit up. Like, all of you guys are fucking, like, stand up if you're a real feminist. The real ones know. The real ones know. Because when you do this, when you say that men should be paying for everything, oh, women are the prize, you know, I just want to stay home, I don't want to work. You're saying that you are like the trophy again. You're placing yourself in a situation where you're the prize and you're below the man because he's trying to get you the prize. And guess what? That same situation happened in like the 1960s when misogyny was very, very strong. You know, they fought for the women, but, you know, did they treat them like a human? No.
The irony is that men have been told they don't get to define relationships anymore, yet they're still expected to fund them. If a woman wants independence, respect, but if a man wants a partner who values traditional roles, she has every right to choose that too. That's equality.
Being single, and if it's actually more expensive for women, because I know the idea of finding a partner to share expenses with can feel very attractive, especially if you're a woman who wants to travel, have nice things, go out to eat, maybe save your money and invest a little bit. Doing all of these things can feel impossible and out of reach because the cost of living is obviously higher than ever. But I need to remind you that going 50-50 with a man is rarely an even split. And even if you find a good one, women in relationships still take on a majority of the mental and physical load, even when they work the exact same hours as their partner. So while you may be splitting half the rent, I need you to think about what it is you're actually saving. I know when I lived with a man, I didn't realize the value of my time and energy. And now that I live alone, I can say it's worth so much more than cleaning up dirty socks and underwear off the floor. Not to mention the cost that is associated with being conventionally attractive enough to be chosen, because there is no amount of cosmetic work, fitness, skincare that will keep you from aging out of.
How the argument focuses on everything women supposedly sacrifice but barely acknowledges what men bring a man, isn't just splitting rent. He is often expected to provide, protect, and carry responsibility. If that's street like it's worthless, don't be shocked when men decide living alone is the better deal.
You are doing it for anyone other than you, it's a losing game. And you could spend your whole life searching and still end up alone, or divorced, or widowed, or in extreme cases, unalive. If you're looking for a partner because you want security, it's my experience that you're better off investing all the time and energy you would into seeking a date and a partner and maintaining that relationship and investing it into developing and honing a skill that you can monetize so that you can make more money and do all the things you want. And so that the dream or fantasy, which is what it really is, of depending on a man never becomes more attractive than depending on yourself. And I'm not saying it's easy or it's guaranteed, but I do think the return on investment will always be higher when you invest in.
The irony is she's telling women not to depend on men while explaining exactly why men are choosing independency too. If everyone is capable of building their own life, then nobody is entitled to someone else's time, money, or commitment. That's not bitterness, that's reality.
Alright, first off, let me just come on here and say this. Thank you, baby Jesus, for paying for. Because I just went to Ulta, because I'm out of like all my makeup, obviously. And if it wasn't for paying for, I just had to be ugly. Because I just went in Ulta when she said $200, I about had a stroke. I was like, hold up, let me get my card ready on my phone. Which I was really saying is, I'm not going to use my debit card because I'm not doing all that at once. Like, I have it, but oh my God, if I sit down on my bank account $200 all at once on some dang makeup, you got me messed up. Anyways, so I got it basically for $17 because that was my first payment. So, girl math. I wonder if you see this.
Men have been saying this for years. If you need 4 payments to make a purchase feel affordable, maybe Yotes aren't afford it. Calling it girl math doesn't change the fact that you're still spending £200 on makeup you could have saved for and bought outright.
Talking about these hiring managers who are partly to blame for why everyone is experiencing a labor shortage. And I think I want to add a little nuance to this now. I want to talk about women hiring managers who don't hire other women. We all know that systemically women were oppressed and largely rejected or barred from participating in the workforce. Generally, we know that, right? However, we also know today that most of the women in companies, or excuse me, most of the people in companies who have the power to make hiring and firing decisions, nowadays, those are women. And I can tell you from the experience of being a woman, those women do not like hiring other women into their organizations. And they specifically do not like hiring younger women into their organizations. And they do not like hiring younger educated women into their organizations. Ask anyone who is under the age of 35, under the age of 40 even, what they've gone through, especially ask any woman under those ages, what they've gone through in interviews, being interviewed by other women.
This is the irony of blaming men for every workplace problem while admitting women are making the hiring decisions. If you're saying qualified women are being rejected by other women, then maybe the problem isn't the patriarchy, maybe it's the people actually making those decisions.
Sad, heartbreaking, tragic. As a sociologist in training with my sociology degree, I've always held the belief that it's other women who are the missing puzzle pieces to misogyny. It's other women who have political power, who have economic, financial power, who have hiring and firing power within organizations, who are still propping up misogyny and the patriarchy. Because it's those women who either don't hire younger, educated women into their organizations, or when they do hire those younger, educated women into their organizations, they do everything in their power to drive them out, from being condescending, from being mean, from being nasty, from refusing to train them properly, from overburdening them with more work than the role or the job requires. It's insane. And before you run into my comments with your musty, dusty, not all women, or how can you claim to be for women's empowerment when you're saying these kinds of...
So after years of blaming the patriarchy, we're now hearing that women in positions of power are supposedly driving other women out, then maybe the real problem is hypocrisy and workplace politics, not men. If you're qualified, you deserve a fair shot, and that standard should apply regardless of who's sitting behind the hiring desk.
Saying these kinds of things is women's empowerment, because part of empowerment is holding oneself accountable for one's actions. And we need to hold these women hiring managers accountable for their actions. We need to hold them accountable for being mean and nasty to younger women entering the workforce full time. We need to hold them accountable for the way they drive out talent out of the workforce. We need to hold them accountable for the way they drive out other women from industries and from entire entities and cause brain drain. We need to hold one another accountable for that, because it's very real and it happens. And you can ask any woman of really any age, and they'll tell you they've experienced some kind of nastiness from another woman, most likely in their organization. And that's so sad. And
now that's accountability. If women are mistreating other women at work, then call it out. Men shouldn't automatically be blamed for every problem. Bad behavior is bad behavior, and the person doing it should be held responsible regardless of gender. Anyway, that's enough for today. Subscribe, hit the notification, be like, share, and stay tuned for the next video.